Hello, my lovely red mare crew. I did have a plan for this evening. I was going to come and get the red mare and give her a jolly good brush and get her into the place of peace for you and film her doing that and then possibly film her going for a little walk. But I came down to the field tonight and it's just so lovely and they're so happy and they're so themselves, and I thought I'm not going to halter her up and fancy her up. I'm just going to leave her in what I call horse world. The horse world is where she doesn't need me. Look, she's completely happy. She's covered herself in mud. She's got her grass. And you can see she's eating quite earnestly because I think they're trying to get the last of the good out of the grass. Sorry, there's my shadow. I've tried to get a good angle and I can't work it out. Anyway, so what I thought I'd do is just chill out with her and let you enjoy the lovely Scottish light and talk to you about the thing I wanted to talk to you about, which is something I've been seeing around quite a lot lately, and it's this idea of spoiling your horse, which is a very, very bad thing to do. And oh, hey, Flo. Hello. Would you like to be a bit spoiled? Yeah, we mustn't spoil our horses, must we? And the thing I particularly saw is that the way of not spoiling them is to show them who is boss. I can't tell you how often I hear this, to show them who is boss. And I think where it comes from is the idea that there is, an alpha in the herd. There is the alpha mare, the alpha horse. And certainly there's not nothing in that. In domestic herds, I know 2 domestic herds of 30 plus, you will definitely see that there's certainly a queen and sometimes a bit of a king. And the lead mare she's the lead mare in our little herd. The lead mare will be a pretty serious person who you wouldn't want to cross. However, actually there's been quite a lot of research on wild herds, horses in the wild, which shows that it's not nearly as simple as that hierarchies are much more fluid than we think. And in fact, that makes perfect sense to me, because if you think about it, you're going to have horses who are really good at finding, say, water in the summer, and other horses really good at finding food in the winter. And you've got the sorry, that was a noise. You've got the thinking horses and you've got the protective horses, and presumably division of labour, so it's all Adam Smith out there. Anyway, I think the show 'em who's boss thing probably comes from the old idea that there is a boss amongst the horses, and so that if you take on that alpha role, they'll kind of recognise that. But as I said, it's much, much more complicated than that. Second thing is, I just think it's human desire, because most of us want our horses to do what we want them to do. It's harder emotionally, saying, actually, I'm going to take your needs into consideration, because quite often her needs don't necessarily chime with mine. And that can be, frustrating. But I have discovered that, hello, my beautiful one. I have discovered, look how muddy she is, that if I don't do that, then we will run into trouble. So I end up actually being able to do less of what I want to do. There's that lovely paradox: the more you give them, the more you get. So it sounds selfless, I'm putting my horse's needs first, but actually it's it's pretty selfish because it means I get what I want, which is a happy horse who's a willing horse. So that's where I think this showing them who's boss stuff comes from. And I'm sure it's a bit more complex than that, but that's a basic idea. And I want to tell you why I don't think that not being the super boss is spoiling your horse. I think thinking of yourself as a partnership, now I definitely am the senior partner, as in the plans tend to be my plan. And if she says no, I will work out a way of encouraging her to step into my plan. I never force her to do anything. And I will work round, and I might put things off. So we might do something tomorrow instead of today. But essentially, in our partnership, I am the senior partner, and that's because my prefrontal cortex is bigger than hers. Pretty much as simple as that. And also some of her plans wouldn't necessarily suit me. But it is a partnership. I'm not the boss of her. I am not her leader. I am her partner. And the reason that works is it means that then she will step into the partnership willingly and happily, and she will feel safe and protected. Whereas if I'm not listening to any of her ideas... Oh, sorry, I'm just looking through this camera now and realising that I've got rather a lot of dung in the field, which I should have picked up before I started. However, we shall stick with our imperfections. Yeah, if I forced her into stuff, I might have an obedient horse, but I wouldn't have a willing horse. I wouldn't have a partner horse. And that's what I want. And it's interesting to me that people think that's spoiling a horse. Listening to their opinion is spoiling them. I don't think it is at all. If you did that with a human being, now I know humans and horses are different, but still I think the principle's the same. You know, if you just... Whoops, hello. Hello, do you want to scratch? If you didn't... Oh, yes, you do, don't you? Look at that. Yes. 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 Oh, can you hear there's something in the woods? Where are we going then? Oh, you want your bottom. Okay, all right. We'll do the bottom and the chatting. This is always... Look at her. You see, she's... Now, some people will say, oh, you're spoiling that horse. You're spoiling that horse. She's, you know, offering you her bottom and you're just scratching it for her. And of course I am. She's offered it perfectly politely. She hasn't invaded my space. If she'd pushed into me, I would do something about that. So this, to me, is the difference. If she'd shoved that arse into me, instead of just presenting it rather politely, I would have immediately, yes, laid down an uncrossable line. That would be spoiling my horse. If I let my horse push me around, if I let my horse have absolutely no consideration for my space, if I let my horse pull me on the rope, if I let my horse just never stand still when I'm in the saddle or when I'm getting on, I think that is spoiling your horse. And the reason I think it is I think that horses need boundaries, just like small humans do. There's a point with young children where you start to lay down the boundaries. And there's a point where they start to test the boundaries. I think it's about when they're 2 and 3. And they need to know that the boundaries exist so that they feel that they have a safe world. The children really hate no rules. It becomes Lord of the Flies very, very quickly. And I think it's the same with horses. So we have boundaries. We have lines they don't cross. That makes us happy. That makes them happy. It's nothing to do with making them do stuff. And it's nothing to do, is it, Flo, with being the alpha. It's to do with, this is my space. There, very polite presentation of the bottom. And so she gets it scratched. She didn't shove into me. She preserved this space. Yes, and there she is. And she's saying, oh, thank you so much. Of course I'm going to scratch her bottom. I'm not going to say, oh, you're a spoilt horse. Instead of working, you're getting your bottom scratched. I'm saying thank you very much for offering it so extremely politely. She also knows that if she had crossed the boundary into personal space and into pushiness, that I would do something about that. And that makes her feel safe. She knows where she stands. I hope this makes sense. I'm not sure I'm explaining it very well. It's something I really feel quite strongly about. And it's to do with the difference between listening to your horse, being empathetic to your horse, being generous to your horse, being kind to your horse, and letting your horse get away with anything, which isn't kind, because the horse then just gets confused and doesn't have a place of safety. Very much like the little kid who's got no, oh hello, who's got no rules. Look, she's so pretty, look at her. Actually, what's brilliant about the scratching the bottom is because look what it makes her do with her head. So she's learning collection practically. Yes, yes. Oh, my little mischief maker. My little mischief one. Yeah, she's... Oh, big sigh. Good girl. All right, shall we say goodbye to the lovely people? Shall we? Yes.